I'm going to talk about the road to Duel Shock. That's, I think, the first. I'll talk more about the road to Duel Shock. I'm going to make that as a proper start. God, it's a road, not necessarily just a Duel Shock, but I suppose it's about a road through my history of filmmaking, or my love of filmmaking, which goes back to a child of loving and falling in love with cinema at a very young age, to wanting to always make films and to go down that route. And it was about 1998 that I made a film that changed everything for me. I made a short film called Disillusions. It was made under the umbrella company that I had at the time with Beaverbrook Films. And Disillusions was really a starting point for me to go out and make my first feature, the film that was at that point going to make me a success. There was a film called 10 Fish in 1999. And I'd met Toby previously in '95, but it was in '99 that he'd come back and to Norwich, where I was making the feature film, and he decided to take on a part for the film. And Toby and myself had always shared a love of filmmaking and certainly script writing. We had so many ideas. Particularly Toby had a lot of different ideas of these very action-based stuff. The 10 Fish at the time I was doing was quite art house and slightly different to what I was Toby was making. But into the early 2000s, I moved to Canterbury and set up my own Tiger Shark Films company. After a breakup from Beaverbrook Films, I went to Tiger Shark Films, always trying to keep myself moving and moving forward. And Toby was my first client. He was at that point working for a company called Youngblood. They wanted to do some stunt-based videos, and so Toby approached me, I think, because I had a free edit suite. And we did this great collaboration on these two little stunt videos. And I suppose from that point, Toby began to look at the stuff that I was doing, and he's always been very encouraging on the work that I've sort of been doing. He's always said, yeah, they've not always been the best pieces of work ever, but the fact that you're actually getting off your backside and making stuff is the key thing. So throughout the early 2000s, we began to evolve different ideas and sort of different concepts. We made a feature documentary in 2003, but all of it was kind of very personal projects, and we wanted to make something that, we wanted to make a living from filmmaking. And so I wrote a script called Driver, which was very much like a road movie, sort of British road movie, crime road movie, I suppose you could look at it. And we both, I suppose I liked the script more than Toby because I wrote it, but he said it wasn't right, so we began to think of different ideas, and we put Driver to the side for the time being. And we then, I think I was one evening, had come home and had an idea for a horror, and I had the scene in my head for a horror, and so I spoke to Toby about it. We came over one October in 2004. We got quite drunk and began to pass this idea off, and then suddenly Toby said, well, what if we did this and we did this, and the next thing you know, Duel Shock was born.